Hey everyone! This right here is the Seasonic Arch Q5. It is the second case made by Seasonic, and I would say it's a little bit simpler, a little bit smaller, and a bit more of a typical ATX case than their first model, the Q7. But the main focus is still the same. It is supposed to make a PC building experience much smoother and much easier because of the special Seasonic Connect power supply that is included with the case. So let's see how it performs. Let's begin. Since Seasonic is primarily a power supply manufacturer, the big focus here is on the 750-watt Connect power supply that is the part of the case. Instead of having a regular power supply with a ton of long cables coming out of it, the Connect only has a short cable that you plug directly into the Connect module on the back, and from there you connect everything else. So the CPU power cables are connected to the top of the module and easily feed to where the CPU power on the motherboard is, and so on. Seasonic has done this concept for a while now, and you can even buy these power supplies separately, but it kind of obviously perfectly integrates into their own case, especially with that second glass side panel that kind of lets you show it off a little bit more. And the concept itself does work well. It makes PC building easier, you get more than enough space in the back, and whether this is your first build or if you're a bit more experienced and you just quickly want to add some more storage, for example, the Connect system does come in handy. As for the rest of the case, I think they're really going for the less is more design. Lots of cases try to stand out with their visuals, but the Q5 here is very straightforward, it is very simple, and it is very clean. It is also very well built, the metal chassis is solid and the finish is good and consistent with no sharp edges anywhere. The front panel is matte plastic, so it's not really sensitive to fingerprints and it's easy to clean it. And even though it has a bit of ventilation on the sides, it is still a very closed design that isn't that perfect for airflow, but I will talk about thermal performance a bit later in this video. Although this is a pretty standard mid-tower case, you do have space for an ATX and even an extended ATX motherboard, which isn't that common for cases of this size. It fits CPU coolers up to 165 millimeters of height, which pretty much covers all mid-range to high-end air coolers, and you have space for GPUs up to 380 millimeters in length. In terms of storage, you can fit 3 3.5-inch drives and 3 2.5-inch drives, which is a nice amount and, to be honest, more than most people really need. The case does come with 320mm fans by default. 2 are in the front and 1 is in the back of the case, but if you want, you could also add 2 more fans to the top or another one to the front. I went for air cooling for this build, but there is enough space for water cooling as well, and you can fit either a 360mm radiator in the front or up to 280mm on the top. For my build, I wanted to make something that goes with the minimalistic design of the case, so no RGB, but a simple, mostly black air-cooled build. So I picked the Gigabyte Z690 Aorus Pro motherboard with an Intel Core i5-13600K, which is probably the best mid-range CPU you can buy right now. I have 32 gigs of Corsair Vengeance DDR5 memory and a Cooler Master Hyper 212 Black Edition CPU cooler. For the GPU, I went with the Gigabyte RTX 3090 Gaming OC. Now, technically, I wouldn't really recommend combining a 3090 with a 750-watt power supply. 850 watts is usually the recommended spec for this card, but I thought it would be a nice challenge for the power supply and for the case itself with its closed front panel. And it actually held up really well. With the case fan set to what I consider an acceptable noise level for a system under load, which is 40 decibels at a 50 centimeter distance, all of the thermals looked very good. While gaming, the GPU averaged at 61 degrees Celsius with a hotspot of 73 degrees and memory of 78 degrees, which is all way below anything problematic. The CPU sat at around 50 degrees, the VRMs at 57 degrees, and the internal case temperature was 36 degrees Celsius. Internal temp of 36 degrees is actually better than I expected for a case with a mostly closed front. So the 3 fans that the case comes with and the ventilation on the side is clearly enough to keep a system like this cool enough. Now, considering you would normally combine a 750-watt power supply with a lower power GPU, I would say that the performance of this case would not be an issue in any possible way. But the biggest challenge that Seasonic needs to deal with is the price. Right now, it's actually pretty hard to find the Q5 anywhere, but the MSRP was $239 or 279 euros for the Q5 with a 650 watt power supply, and $259 or 299 euros for a Q5 with a 750 watt power supply. This does include the Prime power supply, which is their higher end power supply that also includes a lot of extras and a 12-year-long warranty. But it is still a lot of money for a case and a power supply together. If I look at the prices here in the EU, a separate 750 watt Prime power supply is about 150 euros, which leaves about 150 euros for this case. And that kind of feels expensive when you can get an NZXT H5 Flow or Corsair 4000D Airflow for closer to 100 euros. I mean, you can even get Seasonic's previous Q7 case with the 750 watt power supply for 190 euros here in the Netherlands, and that case is way more premium than this one. So it will really depend on how much will this end up costing. Because if Seasonic really wants to compete with big brands in PC cases, the price of this case really needs to come down from the MSRP, because the case itself is built well, it performs well, and it makes your PC building just a little bit easier. It is just up to Seasonic now to make the price right. This video is brought to you by Corsair and their MP600 Pro LPX SSD. This high-performance Gen 4 SSD offers read speeds of up to 7100 megabytes per second, and it comes with a nice low-profile heatsink, making it a perfect fit for your PlayStation 5 as well as your PC. It is available in several capacities, going up to 4 terabytes, and it comes with a comfortable 5-year-long warranty. Check it out using the links in the description below. Anyway, that is where I will leave it. I hope you enjoyed this build and this case review. It has been a while since I've done one of those. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!